the politics in Zimbabwe. Love Mumadugu being the leader of NCA, going to defend another colleague in the trenches as opposition parties. Those are the politics of the country and in Zimbabwe. And lawyers coming to rescue other citizens, irrespective of their position in other political parties. Mr. Machinga, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Yes, here we see Dr. Kupe excited, and she's saying she's ready to take the reins and lead the MDC party. Let's look at her abilities, looking at the previous election results where she garnered 45,000 votes against Chamisa's 2.6 million as they claim it to be, but all we know is above 2 million. Is she in a position to harness the following that was following Chamisa as she is now assuming the position of presidency as MDCT?
Let me explain. Perhaps we are going to get into that later.
Yes.
Because as you see at the present moment, Mr. Chamisa is leading what is called the MDC Alliance.
Yes.
He is not leading the MDC or MDCT as it were. And his colleagues who are in his support are saying it's a different party from the MDC. That's where the confusion is, and much will be out clearer as we move on to that supposed Congress she wants to hold. But let me say, the court cannot order people to associate with rivals. That cannot be done. Yeah, the court cannot order me and you to be friends when we are not friends. That is very, very clear, and there is no dispute to that.
Yes.
But talking of politics apart from the court judgment, it was very wise for the MDC and for Mr. Morgan Tsvangirai to select Mr. Nelson Chamisa. It made political sense to select him as the successor and as the new leader of the party. There's no problem with that politically. Let's separate politics and the law.
Okay.
Yes, the way he came to be the president of the party may be faulty, but was it politically correct to have him as the candidate for the opposition party? My answer to that question is yes, that was a wise political decision. Dr. Kupe, I think Mr. Tsvangirai and his colleagues in the MDC were very much aware of her capacity to be a leader who could take the party to elections. And that's why he tried, even unconstitutional, to appoint extra vice president. And I think that's the very, very important thing that we need to investigate is Dr. Kupe and her colleagues, including Mr. Ngonzora, Mr. Komichi, perhaps Engineer Mudzure as well, going to be able to convene this Congress. As we said, politics is a game of numbers. It's not about the courts giving orders about this and that. Honestly, what gives you legitimacy or acceptability is the number of people who will follow after you. And Chamisa will remain with the number, no matter what they do. Chamisa is like a rock star, if you want to take it that way. He's like the Obama of our time. He is so charismatic. People like him. Wherever he goes to speak, even if he is not speaking anything of substance, his followers like it. His followers like it. If you were, to go back in history, maybe 2007, 2008, when Obama was running for president, his opponents would say this guy sometimes doesn't speak anything of material important. Yeah, anything of substance. And people loved him. He's an orator. He's this kind who can charm people wherever he goes. And this is the same with Chamisa. Politically, this is an exercise in futility which Dr. Kupe and her colleagues might want to do. And I want to say politicians don't learn from past mistakes. We had Mr. Professor Washman and his colleagues. We included the likes of Job Scala, Mr. Coltart, and so forth, who left in 2005. They didn't perform so badly for an offshoot of a political party with some 10 or so seats in parliament in 2008. But after that, what happened in 2013? Got nothing, right? Yeah. And Mr. Beat, I think he realized that mistake early. And he didn't even want to contest the 2018 elections as a candidate for president and his own MP candidates and councillors. So it's not easy. If you live in this country, the MDC or ZANU-PF, if you leave that, any of those two parties and try to form your own party, please, you are doing something that won't go anywhere. And Mr. Monzora, Mr. Komichi, and Mr. Mzuri, and Dr. Kupe, they know very well that they won't go anywhere. Even if Chamisa and his colleagues were going to form a party and give it another name, people who vote Chamisa, not this other one. That I can assure you. Chamisa is the numbers. Him as an individual is a charismatic leader, is loved by his supporters. Even if they hear that Chamisa was shoplifting somewhere in a supermarket, they will still vote for him. They will still vote for him. That's how they love him. So whatever Dr. Kupe and the others are trying, look, that's where their opponents are saying they are being used by their enemies. But yes, as far as I'm concerned, I cannot say the Supreme Court judgment really was about being used by ZANU-PF, about that one. ZANU-PF wasn't there when they elevated Mr. Chamisa and Mr. Mzuri. ZANU-PF wasn't there when they drafted their constitution. They drafted it themselves with all the shortcomings it had, and they cannot just blame ZANU-PF for everything. But those people who are saying we want to accept the judgment and comply with it, I said these are dishonest people, and they are maybe which might be available if they manage to take control of the party, not to really be leaders one day of this country. That they cannot take away from Chamisa.
Yes, thank you so much. We want to go back to our viewers who are supporting us on Slime Media and who are listening to this discussion and hear what they also have to say before we come back to you. We also have Rogers Shajira. He says, Mazipati Aya, ZANU-PF, MDCA are the worst parties in the history of Zimbabwe. For a long time, they have always been fighting and fighting instead of finding ways of working together to help revive the economy of Zimbabwe and its people. Thank you so much for watching and your contribution, Rogers. There is also Buna Law. He says, Buna says, forgive me for that slip of the tongue. The bottom line here is the courts are talking about MDC, of which we are aware that Chamisa is the leader of MDC Alliance and Kupe is the leader for MDCT. Ngawasade futi kuti confused, like what you were saying. Rogers also comes back with another statement and where he's saying, but it's not like MDCA, they are talking about MDC and MDCA. Are two different parties altogether. Remember, the Vice President Kupe disappeared and Tsvangirai could not do anything. He had to choose someone else. This is not a transparent decision because it does not address the constitutions of the two different parties, MDCT and MDCA does it. Philip Mudoti says, anyone still not convinced that SC is captured, go and read Big Saturday, read the edition of today. If you are still not convinced, read again at a slower rate. He's talking about the Big Saturday that is written by a seasoned lawyer who is based in the UK, Alex Magaisa, or Magaisa.